So, hello. So today's lesson, we're going to be following on with the themes of these goddesses, which you don't know about in the lesson, but it's just something to talk about sometimes. And then we're going to be. I've also landed on the idea of repeating bits that we did like over the last week. So, like last week we repeated the roly-poly told roly-poly. We made it into a pigeon, didn't we? And then, but what I want to repeat this week is the roly-poly into the twist to start with, and then, yeah, you'll kind of know the other bits because I mean we're doing enough warriors in this lesson, so I love a warrior. So anyway, so the theme of the lesson. So stuck on, like I said, going through these goddesses, and this one is about a goddess called Varahi, and these goddesses are meant to be like the female equivalent of a bunch of Hindu gods. So this one is the female equivalent of one called Yama, and so Varahi, she is a goddess that conquers ego, and I remember my teachers talking when you're doing meditation and things like that, you're meant to be conquering ego. And you know, I remember like once sitting in a lesson thinking, I hate the idea that someone like, you know, the idea that you're meant to be losing your ego and deep inside you're trying to connect to this quietness. And I remember thinking, but I like the fact I'd hate to think that I'm vanilla. I don't want to lose my personality. You know, this idea that you meditate yourself to this blank canvas was a bit scary, but I think what I've noticed through meditation is not that it's a blank canvas underneath, and to me, it's more that you get to sense the kind of person that you are. And I think I'm a happy person, and I think that's a really nice thing to have noticed. And like, although you've got these fluctuating moods all around, you know, I mean, some days you get up and you think, oh, especially this COVID thing, I've just fed up a bit sometimes, and just think this is no life. But underneath it, this is this well of happiness that comes out, and I'm really pleased I've noticed that. But anyway, so ego, what is it? So ego is being shaped by the lives that you've had. So I mean, I guess if you've had a really hard life, then this ego is going to compensate for it in some way. And you know, sometimes you might say, "Oh, that person's got a right inflated ego," and it's basically this person is full of themselves. And yeah, so it can, you know, it can also like your ego can be there for lack of confidence. And I know for myself, I don't like an awkward silence. I'll just go like this, you know, talk to you now. You probably think, shut up and get on with some yoga. So my ego compensates for silence, I think, and lack of confidence with being quiet and being confident about being quiet, possibly. And there's I just want to read something. There's a yogi called Yogi Bhajan, and basically it says when ego is lost, limit is lost. You become infinite, kind, and beautiful. And so basically, ego can hold you back in some respects. So how do you conquer ego? Well, you practice gratitude. I think it's always nice to be thankful for the things in our lives and not have this expectation, I guess. To surrender to silence, which is what I should do every now and again, I think. And do yoga because it allows us to look inwards. So there's the lecture. Take from that what you will. So there. So shall we start then? So lay down, make yourself comfy, and we'll start that yoga that is recommended, shall we? So closing your eyes, using cushions, whatever you need to make yourself nice and comfortable. So as you close your eyes and you're taking this inward journey, so these goddesses, what I like about them is that they just pose a question why about the things that we do and the way that we act, don't they? And I think that's a really nice self-reflection. And you can also pose that about the body, you know, why you move a certain way, why you might tense and why you might, you know, habitually move in a particular way. And as we practice yoga, you know, they say it's a loss of ego, you know, be explorative in your movements. Losing the idea of this is how you do a particular thing because you've always done a particular thing in a particular way. So you're allowing all your thoughts, all your actions just begin to fall softly away from the body, almost like snowflakes settling on the floor around you. Taking joy with your inner breath, your quiet mind, the quietness of the mind as you rest with your breath. Now when you're ready, we're going to just step our feet inwards just so we've got them resting in front of the hips, so standing the feet up, knees pointing to the ceiling. We're going to come back to our familiar starting point with these lessons. We're going to start with our little hip movements. So roll your tailbone forwards towards your heels. And then resting your lower back into the floor. So letting your tailbone roll and fail, the lower back rise, and again let the lower back sink into the floor. Obviously, just letting this movement stay tuned to your breath. Noticing how the spine undulates through the body, and any other movements, maybe at the nod of the head, maybe you could even feel more the heels today. Notice what your attention is being drawn to. Like every time you practice yoga, for me, it always reveals something. So it might be you notice today that it's a jerky movement, that you feel heavier on one side. You might notice a really fluid movement. Then rest and float up your left hip. And then relax down, float up your right hip. So just rolling again across the back of the pelvis. Give yourself a really nice massage on the floor. Keeping your knees again standing up. And following the movement into the ribs, into the chest. Again, let your awareness travel along the length of the spine from the tailbone up to where you feel that movement end. So where does this movement end in the body? Some of you might feel it in the head, you might feel it in the chest, you might feel it in the shoulders. And again, the idea of this one about losing ego, she's really trying to shoehorn this little idea into the class, but try not to move in a natural, in your normal way, maybe, let go of the ego, the idea that this is how you move. Maybe just try exploring doing it a different way. Maybe you can just pause and maybe think about pressing from the little toe and into the foot and let your pelvis move. Maybe just play with one side, just pressing one foot rather than both feet. Just see if you can have a little play with this movement. But, be inquisitive. Maybe even lift the toes up, press the heel into the floor. Can you move the pelvis? Again, lose the idea that you have to move in a particular way, that this is how you've kind of told yourself you have to move. Play with the movement. Can you, like I said, lift the toes, press the heel, lift the hip, and could you maybe even then lift the heels and press with the toes to lift the hip? Does that make any sense? So as you push down, you can feel that pelvis lift. And then let's press the feet down and start to circle. So again, decide which way you want to go and go that way. And then let's rest in center. Now extend your legs out in front of you. Just wiggling up so you can see my feet, that's it. And then bring the feet together. And just let your arms rest down by your side. Just take a really good breath. And just if you want to, just even let your feet fall outwards. So just let your heels rest together, let your toes turn out. Check in on how you feel the feet, the shins, the knees, the thighs, and all the way into the hips. And then let's bring these feet together so you can feel the inner edges of the bridges touching, the big toes touching, and then slide your right heel away. So just let your big toes stay together. You might need the big toes stay together or that right big toe slides down the left, and then bring the foot back. And just do it a few times, pushing that right heel out. Just keep that right big toe touching the left foot in some way. What do you notice again about this? What did you experience about this? Or do you notice tension? I notice quite a lot of effort and tension as I practice this. I feel how nice it is to let the heel slide out, but actually there's a little bit of effort to bring that heel in. So I'll just pause, let go of that, and then push the left heel out and then bring the heel in. Again, notice what you feel. And it might be you experience this in different ways on each side of the body. And then bring the feet together and push both heels out and bring them both heels back in. So by moving the feet, we get that connection really for me that there's a movement up in the hips, a really deep movement up in the hips. So relax the feet and then let's stand the feet, both knees up, feet up I should say, and then bring your right leg in towards you, interlacing your fingers around the back of your right thigh. Just kind of give your toes a bit of a wiggle and then lead with the heel, start to draw some circles with the heel. Noticing obviously how this feels in the knee, so hopefully this is not upsetting anybody's knee, actually doing the right knee, not the left knee. Explore pointing the toes and explore pushing the heel away. You know, I don't know why, but I often imagine that I'm kind of trying to. I think, well, I'm a massive fan of peanut butter. I always try to find interesting ways of getting that last bit of peanut butter out of the jar. And, you know, put a knife in and try to get underneath it, or get a spoon in and trying to get underneath it. So with this, I'm kind of imagining that I'm trying to, you know, go around the edge of a jar or a big barrel with my foot and trying to get into all the nooks and crannies with the foot. And then let's place the right foot down and then we'll do the same with the left. So again, hold on the back of the hamstring and the back of the thigh. And again, start to circle. So lead with the heels. Imagine again, you're trying to get all around the edges of a jar, of a barrel with that foot. You don't leave any part of it untouched. As you circle the foot, what do you feel into the hip? Again, do we feel little muscles we didn't know we had beginning to work? And even into the feet, what do we feel? And then let's relax these feet down. And then straighten out your right leg. So keep your left leg bent. And then lay your right arm on the floor with the elbow slightly soft, I would say, back of the hand on the floor. If you can reach it to the floor above your head, fantastic. I'm wiggling this way just so I can, but obviously if it's going to have a hand off the floor in order to have a hand overhead, please don't. I'd rather you have that hand, you know, quite wide, just so you can relax the arm back. And then lay the left arm on your chest, the hand on your chest, I should say, and relax the elbow. And then we're going to start a journey over to the right. So sliding your right hand, your left hand across the chest towards your right shoulder. Turn your head, and you'll be a point where you're going to stop. It's going to feel stiff, and that's where we're going to allow ourselves to roll back. So slide that left hand back down onto the chest, and again let the elbow relax onto the floor. And then do it again, sliding the hand up towards the right. Look at it as well as you can. Notice where you kind of get stuck, and then allow yourself to fall back. And then just do it again. Maybe this time press into your left foot and roll. Keep looking at your hands. I'm just going to move myself down that a little bit more so I've got more space. Let your left hand slide, if it can, a bit further beyond, and keep your left knee standing up. So you should be on the side of the body with your pelvis tilted. And then let your left hip fall back, roll back onto your back, and then do it again. So slide your hands. You might feel then that this is a little bit more fluid. And again, roll back onto your back. So you slide the hand. You might not even realise now you're pressing into that left foot. Look at your hands, keep your head on the floor. And then maybe this next time, keep going. Roll all the way over and flip onto your back, onto your belly. I'm going to stare at you guys. So, you've got both knees. I'd like to bend both knees and widen out your knees and bring your big toes together. Excuse me. Have your hands stacked. And should we go to the right? So I want you to look towards your right elbow and then drop your head down so you've got your left cheek on your hands. And then very, very, very carefully, very, very slowly, tip your feet across to the left. So you're going to feel your right big toe sliding up and down your left shin. So slide the feet over to the left and back again. So your feet again are in charge. Follow the movement to the hip. Notice that you've got a little waggy tail going on, hopefully. So just let your tail wag a little bit. I quite like this because it feels really comforting, that foot sliding up and down the shin, doesn't it? So, shall we bring the feet together? So bring the feet together this time. Keep the feet touching, keep the shins touching. I mean, they might part a little bit, but the intention is to not widen and lose control. So when you're ready, bring both feet over to the left. Notice how your right knee comes off the floor, the pelvis turns, and again, just drop it back down. So your feet move. I don't want you to think about lifting the hip. Take the feet to the left, let the body follow. Feet to the left, body follow. If you feel that this is energetic, so I do think this is quite a tough ask actually. Have a little rest, and then when you're ready, go back into it again. This will feel like it's chiropractic. So relax your knees back into the floor and then extend your left arm above your head. And bring your right hand, so it's in a press up position. And we're just going to do something nice and lazy before we come to that towards sitting. So just rest your head again on the floor if you can. And then start with your feet. Take them to the left. Roll. You're going to let your head roll over your left hand. Let your head find the floor. Roll onto your back. Let your right hand trail. Maybe let your right hand kind of rest on the ribs. Your knees are together. You're laid on your back. My left hand is happy being turned down, but it might be nice for it to flip up on the floor. And then to come back onto our front, let your right hand find the floor. Slide it away from you. Feel how, because it's connected to the shoulders, you begin to roll onto your ribs. Let your head roll over the left arm again, roll back onto your front. And then do it again. So lead with the feet. Feet come to the left, rolling through the pelvis, head floats up. Right hand slides across the floor. And then slide your right hand again towards the side of the mat. Feel how you roll through the bones. Again, rest on your side. Just need to take my glasses off to roll break them. The feet go to the left. feet, knees, pelvis, ribs, head, hands, slides. And again, slide your hand away, roll over the bones and onto the belly. Okay, so let's have a little rest on our front, and then let's go that little bit more tricky, shall we? So bringing both hands either side of you, so in your little press up position with your wrists over your hands over your wrists, I can't even speak, elbows over wrists and shoulders in line with elbows. Taking your feet over to the left, press with your right hand, lift your head up and look down over towards the bottom of the mat, and then lead your feet, feel the pelvis, feel the spine, let your head relax back down onto the floor. And then again, taking your feet over to the left, feet, knees, pelvis, lift your head up looking over towards the bottom of the mat. And then again, bring your feet, your knees, your pelvis, follow that movement all the way down to your neck. So I love the order of movement, particularly that way back down when you follow that movement and you feel that movement connect from the feet all the way to the head. And then if you wish, beginning to take this towards a seated position. So you're just going to push a little bit more with that right foot. Take your right knee back a little bit behind you. And we can just kind of sit and look at the left knee. And then when you're ready, lead with your right hand, bring it towards the floor, and then let the rest of the body follow, lay back down. And I promise you that more you practice that movement, bringing that right knee further back, you can begin to sit up a little bit more clearly, I think, then at that point. Obviously we did this last week, so you know that you can spin yourself around if you really want to, kind of continue that movement, starting to look over the opposite shoulder. I'm just going to spin this way so I can keep an eye. If you're not sure, the feet go all the way around, take a seat, let your hands come all the way around, and again look over. And then turning the body the other way, placing those hands on the floor, hands come down, and then bring the feet over. Oh, I can see some lovely fluid movements. Well done, everybody. Nice, isn't it? I remember the first time that you do it, it always feels really heavy. Then you can really get into actually how easy it is just to let the body be really wise, basically. So, shall we lay that down again? So, take yourself back onto your front. And we need to lay on our backs again, don't we? So, let's come back onto our backs. So, how are we doing this? We're going to lay our arms out in front of us. And then we led with our, was it the left foot last time? Yeah, it was the left foot, didn't we? Lay your right leg down on the floor. And then bring your left foot out behind and roll them back onto your back. There you go, that's how I got you onto your back. So, let's now straighten our left leg and then bend your right knee. Lay your left arm on the floor, this time above your head. And then your right hand again, rest on your chest, just let your elbow relax. And then taking your right hand along the arm, again, have a look at it. Notice when you get a bit stiff, my head presses back and it feels really rigid. And then allow yourself to flop back. So again, your right hand slides, so have a look at it. And again, flop yourself back. Hand slides, maybe this time press with the right foot. Keep the knees standing up, looking at the hand. Let your gaze shift to the fingers. And then to fall back, let your right hip feel heavy, spiraling down, resting on your back. And then we can do it again, sliding the hand. We're arching the spine. You can feel this through the ribs. You know, do you feel it? For me, this feels like a movement that's from the centre of the spine. Maybe even from the hips, this is a movement, isn't it? First, just bring your awareness into your pelvis. As you bring that hand over to the left and press with the foot, feel the forces of the floor from that foot through the pelvis into the hands. And then whenever you're ready, keep going. Press, roll over onto your tummy, and there we go. So then we're going to widen out these feet again, aren't we? Yes, we are. Let me turn around and keep a look at you then. So, bend your knees. Oh, I'm turning around the other way, aren't I? Never mind. Bend your knees, have your feet together, and then look to your left elbow. And then this time we take the feet over to the right. So let your left big foot, yes, your big foot, not your little foot, your big toe slide down your right shin. Bringing your feet together. So just sliding that left big toe down your right shin. So knees are wide. Again, feeling your tail wagging. And then bring your feet together. And again, take your time to think, okay, I'm going to take these feet to the right and let my knees stay together. So let your pelvis roll with this. These very happy feet. Okay, so relaxing your feet together this time. Lay your right arm on the floor just above your head. So look at the palm. Take your left hand out into your press-up position. And again, lay your head on the floor, looking at your hand. And then lead with your feet. Bring them to the right, roll over, and then let your left hand slide inwards. My left hand just kind of finds itself on those right ribs, and then to roll back onto my front. I slide the left hand away. I feel the elbow, feel the shoulder, I feel the ribs, and then I roll back over onto my front. And I'm just going to do that again. So leading with the feet, letting my head float over the right arm, rolling onto the back, and then sliding the hand away, rolling back over onto my front. And just play with that, leading with the feet, rolling over. Okay, so let's bring these hands again into our little press-up position. So again, elbows, wrists, shoulders, nice to right angles, and then taking the feet over to the right, pressing with the left hand, look down towards the bottom of your mat, and then pelvis comes back down, let your head lay down. So again, you take the feet over to the right, feet, knees, pelvis, little press of that left hand, lifting up and looking over. And again, as that pelvis comes back down, let your head lay down last. And starting to explore, taking your left knee back a little bit as you press. Can you begin to sit? I always find that first one is always a little bit kind of unsteady, and then take your time to bring your hands to the floor, to let your pelvis roll, and again, coming back onto your front, and then do it again. And then coming back down, and again, it might be now you're thinking, haha, and maybe take your right hand off the floor and turn all the way into the twist. Maybe you're not ready for that. I want you to do it at a point where it feels ready. Well, I'll be doing crazy arm balance in no time. It's very strong for your arms, isn't it? There. Okay, so maybe the next time you come to seated, think, okay, I know we can go the other way. So come down, land, send your feet to the left and sit up and go the other way. Bring your hands down to the floor, send your feet to the right, and can you go again that way, and bring your hands back down and roll the other way, and let the movement flow through the bones. Try not to think about too much which way your head turns. It'll start to turn in a way that feels most natural. And then at some point we need to stop, don't we, because we'll be really dizzy. So take yourself the next time that you are up to seated and cross your legs if that's comfortable. So yeah, comfortable is always key. So yeah, let's not damage knees, let's not push ourselves into positions that your body doesn't want to do. So if this feels horrible, don't do it. You can always extend your legs out if that feels better. So we're going to do a fold. So, I mean, I'm sure saw when you were hugging a cushion earlier on. If you want to plop a cushion underneath your bottom, that might help, really, because folds are always nice if they come from the tailbone, really, and not from the lower back. So if that feels better to have a cushion underneath you, please go for it. And again, if it's comfortable to have your feet, your knees crossed, go for it. So from this place, placing your hands down on the floor, and we're walking back to just stay on camera. Walking your hands forward, slide down towards your fold. Feeling from your pelvis, the lower back, the chest, the head, coming to where it feels like a natural place to stop. So please don't push yourself into anything too deep, because that's not the intention. Just allow yourself to soften forwards. Tune into the rhythm of your breath. And also into the person that you are. I mean, just from practicing that little bit there, I feel like I've kind of shifted down some gears. So just notice the stage you're at right now within your practice. And then walking your hands in towards you. Take your feet out in front of you and take your hands onto the floor behind you. I might just get rid of this mat, it's completely pointless. Don't lay on it because it gets in the way. So there you go. So anyway, so there's your feet in front of you. You've got your hands just comfortable behind you. So if you need to be on your wrists or your knuckles, go for it. You know, turn your wrists out if that feels comfortable. Don't need to again go into joints in a way that's harmful. And once you're settled where your hands are, I want you to take a really big deep sigh out and let him tip your tailbone, I would say underneath you towards your feet. So you're going to feel your pelvis rolling back. You're going to feel your spine beginning to round. Look at your shoulders, hopefully they've rolled forwards a little bit and you're looking down towards your belly. And then just gently press into your hands as you take an inhale. And feel your pelvis again, like you're trying to sit up. You're going to be rolling towards your tailbone. Notice that movement's gone into your chest, into your heart. Gently press like your gaze lift up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, tilt your tailbone down towards your heels, round. And again, let your spine soften. Look down towards your shins, towards your thighs. And again, inhale, pressing with your hands. Feeling that tailbone sliding back, feeling your sit bones coming towards the floor, follow the movement up into your heart. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So again, we found another lovely way of doing a cat-cow, haven't we, hopefully? Feeling your spine being dropped through the body, but pushing up through the body. So let's bring ourselves towards seated, sliding your heels in towards, again, what might be a nice comfortable seated position. So again, it might not be your sukhasana, it might be just going to arrange your legs out in front of you. But we're going to come into kind of our cat-cow, but in more upright position. So, I mean, I've just put my legs out because I know some others might not be comfortable with these legs crossed. But yes, so notice your tailbone. And then take an exhale, and again let your tailbone tuck under, spine round, and then as you inhale, rolling your sit bones back, feel your spine stack, let your heart come forward, shoulders again broaden, and again sink down, rise up, sinking down, rising up, sinking down, and again try not to be so, for me, I'm like straight away, I've crossed my legs and I'm going into familiar territory of what I know my cat-cow seated feels like, and I'm Okay, thinking, let's not go with ego. Let's not go with what I think I should feel. I'm just going to be a bit more exploratory in this movement. So maybe I'm not going to push so much. I'm maybe just going to be a little bit more gentle with myself. So again, come back to self-inquiry and be a little more gentle with ourselves. So let's place our hands down on the floor in front of us and then walk yourself back into the fold we experienced before and just notice how it feels. And it might be that the spine isn't where you feel this. It might be that there's a different sensation in the hips or maybe in the neck. Notice what feels different. Let's walk our hands in towards us and come over onto all fours, shall we? Shall we? Yes, we shall. How's that on knees? So thumb up, thumb down, just out of interest. Okay. So all I want to do today was kind of have a little play with tabletop pose, isn't it? So using again, we've been doing some lovely fluid movements through the spine. So let's come into our cat cow, looking down towards knees, and again lifting tailbone, feeling the head floating up. Again, rounding the spine, looking down towards knees, and again lifting the tailbone. Notice again the movement flowing through the bones. And then all we're going to begin to do is as we curl into our cat, looking down towards your knees, just bring some weight over slightly towards your right knee, lift your left knee up and just swing it like a little pendulum. And then look forwards, bring the foot back, inhale, bring the knee in, again, bring the foot back. And maybe when you want to, again, stop and act like a little pendulum, let the knee swing softly underneath you. And then whenever you're ready again, bring the knee in and extend the foot back as you lift the heart and look forward. And again, inhale. And again, whenever you're ready again, let's go into a little pendulum again. Just let that knee rock underneath you. See if you can let that leg feel like really nice and floaty underneath the body. And then again, whenever you're ready, inhale, bring the foot back, lift the heart, exhale. Again, come back to pendulum if that feels nice. And again, inhale. Okay, that's once you feel that you're lengthening all the way from the big toe to the neck. Then pendulum swing. And then let's place this left knee down, sink your bottom down towards your heels and support the head in any way you feel. Maybe you're just going to let it come to the floor, maybe you're going to stack your hands. Let that breath go into the lower back. Notice your left side, does it feel fuller? So let's come back up to all fours. Shifting that weight towards your left knee and take your right knee off the floor and again pendulum swing a little bit. Just let that knee feel loose. We're not pushing ourselves into any particular shape. There's going to be a little bit of rounding at the back. And then whenever you're ready, extend the foot back, look forwards, and then again inhale, look towards the knee to chest in that kind of general direction. As you arch inwards, that knee comes closer, and as you look back, the leg extends. And again, whenever you're ready, again, you can maybe pendulum swing the knee. Again, extend back. You might have already sort of pendulum swinging already. Go whenever you're ready to do that. You feel like the movement becomes kind of almost more fluid and more easy to do the more we can pendulum swing that leg. Take your feet again back together, bring your knees together, sink down into child again and settle down. So one more time, float yourself up onto all fours, so again pushing with your shins, hopefully. And pendulum swing the left knee. Extend the foot back, bring the knee in. As you hold the knee in this time, we're going to do something with that right hand. So as you take that left foot back, bring the right hand forwards. And then exhale, bringing the hand towards the knee towards the hand. Reaching forward to the hand and the foot. Placing yourselves down, take an inhale and an exhale, and move through your cat-cow. And then we're going to move that to the left knee. So shifting that weight inwards, taking an inhale, bringing that right knee in. Again, we can pendulum swing a little bit. And then extend the right foot back, raise the left arm, and again, inhale, curling in. Exhale, reaching forward. Exhale, curling in. Inhale. And again, you can always pendulum swing. And then try again. How's that feel? And then let's settle down. Bring your hands to the floor. Look forward with your tailbone and then bring your bottom down to your heels. Looking down towards your knees, feel your spine round and then push with your shins, floating up. Let your head float forward, tailbone lifts. Take your bottom down to heels. Again, keep the arms straight, lower the gaze. Pushing with your shins, let your head float up through the body. Again, flow with this movement. We're going to come up eventually into our downward facing dog. So I'm just going to adjust the camera while you're doing that. Let those movements flow through the bones. Then, so I know that it's for the people who receive the recording, so downward facing dog. You don't have to go into downward facing dog, but if you can, roll through the heels, sink down. And we're going to take that right foot by the right hand. So if you can, raise the right foot, point the toes, and then swing it by the right hand, stepping into a lunge with that left knee lifted. And then press down into the floor, rise up into your warrior position. So keep that left heel lifted as you come up. Maybe position the feet. I've got a really long stride, I feel, today. So everything should be facing the front of the mat. Your pelvis is upright. Your ribs are comfortably over your hips. I'm going to nearly fall over because I've got a mat wall. I really hate this wall. And then bend your right knee. Push back with your left heel. So I want you to think about keeping your pelvis upright. It might be that this is too much, so you're very welcome to bend that left knee a little, just so you don't go into that lower back and cause any damage. Inhaling, bringing your hands up. Exhale, guiding your hands to heart, and then push your left hand forwards. Now imagine I've got your wrist, and I'm going to pull your wrist. So as that wrist comes forwards, the elbow does, the chest comes, keeping your right knee bent, pelvis is tilted, so keep that spine lengthened, and then push with your right leg to come back up. Exhale, leading with your left hand, again bending the right knee, leaning forwards, and then inhale, press with your right foot to come back. Exhale. Same here for 5 breaths. Have a little look at your knee over ankle, really using the force of the floor, pushing up through those bones. And then press, straighten, dropping your left heel, turning your left heel so it's now facing inwards and that toe, the toes are facing the side of that. I've also just stepped my foot inwards because we're going into a warrior two. So we're kind of lining up the feet now. Wiggle your right foot to the centre of the mat. So you've got right toes forwards, inner arch and heels lined up. Pelvis is lined up, arms floating out. Looking towards your right middle finger. Exhale, bending your right knee. Inhale, press and straighten. Turn your left heel in, bending your left knee, coming into retreating warrior. So we're going to let those right big toes pick themselves up. Plant, reposition the feet, bending the right knee, warrior two. Inhale, press in with the right foot to straighten, turning the left heel in, bending the left knee, again sinking back. And then again, rise back up, reposition the left foot, sink down, warrior two, staying here for 3 breaths. Three, 5. So again, press to straighten, turning your left heel in, so toes are pointing kind of towards that top end of the mat, knee bent, bending your left knee, hover down, 5 breaths. Again, have a little look at that big toe, knee over the centre of the foot, pointing outwards. Again, connecting that foot into the hip. So press to straighten, bending again your right knee, reposition the left foot, and then we're going to float our right hand up. Let your left hand just kind of rest on your left hip. Bend your right knee, sinking into moon warrior. So looking over the left shoulder. Press again with your right foot, turning your left heel in. You're going to sweep your right hand towards your left knee. Tilt at the pelvis as you do, look over your left shoulder. I've picked up the toes of my right foot. Press to straighten. Reposition your left foot, moving back to warrior, to sun warrior. Bending your, pressing to straighten your right leg. Turning your left heel in. So again, that knee and toes are going to go in that same direction. Bending the left knee, tilting from the pelvis, sweeping the right hand over towards the left shoulder, look over the left shoulder. Press again to straighten. So again, reposition the left foot, bending the right knee. We're going to stay in our sun warrior for 3 breaths. So again, that right knee is bent. Have a little look down to the toes. I always like to look down towards my left heel or towards that hand. So again, be comfortable here. So pushing from that right foot, straighten the legs, bringing those arms, bringing the right arm out, turning the left heel in, bending the left knee, bringing the pelvis back, spine tilts forwards, bringing that right hand towards the left shoulder. So again, feel this spiral through the spine, right to the nape of the neck. So the spine should feel nice and long. Move from the pelvis. So press with your left foot to straighten, turning yourself again towards the front of the mat. Whee! And reposition your feet, bring your hands to the floor and walk yourself back to dog, or even just come into the floor in a crouch if you don't practice dog. And then, so if you're comfortable about raising your left foot, raise it up, point it back, and then swing it through so it's by your left hand, bend your left knee, press and rise up. So again, let your right heel come off the floor, you should be on the ball of your right foot, pelvis is upright, heart is stacked, left knee is bent, pushing back with your right heel. And again, if this is troubling your pelvis, your spine, bend that right knee a little bit, just so we're not going so deeply into the stretch here. Inhaling, raising the arms. Exhale, hands come to heart, and then as we inhale, bring your right hand forward. So again, imagine I've got your wrist and your elbow, and I'm pulling you Tilt the pelvis, keep your left knee bent. And then inhale, straighten. So again, lead with the wrist, exhale. Inhale, press with the arm, leg, and then exhale. Holding here for 5 breaths. So again, have a little look at the knee and the ankle, feeling the push from the floor. So press to rise up, repositioning. So again, I have a little bit of a shufty with my feet, bringing that left foot to the centre of the mat, right heel's turned in, lining up heel to inner arch, leveling up the pelvis, floating out the arms, bending the left knee, sinking into warrior 2. So again, in that warrior 2, we try not to let the knee roll in. So you're trying to get it to go over the centre of the foot, so we open out that hip. And then inhale, press with the left foot, turn the right heel in, bending the right knee, shifting your weight over the right foot. Inhale, press with the right foot, exhale, left foot. Inhale, press, turn the heel in, exhale, float back. Inhale, press and settle into your warrior 2. So again, left big toe pointing forwards, knee pressing back with the right thigh, 5 breaths. So press with your left foot, turn your right heel in, gliding back. So you're bringing that weight again over your right, into your right leg. Have a little look at the knee and the toe. Press into straighten. Reposition that right foot so it's turning outwards, floating your left hand up, and again my right hand just kind of goes to the pelvis, bending the left knee, moving into sun warrior. Inhale, press, turn the right heel in, floating that left hand over towards my right shoulder, and again the hips are pressing back, the spine feels nice and straight. I can feel my core is working to support the lower back. Press, floating the left hand up, bend the left knee. Press, sink back, breath, and again staying here for 5 breaths. Press in, turn the right heel in, 5 breaths in our humble warrior. So again, the pelvis is shifting back, that spine feels nice and straight. My left big toes are off the floor, looking over the right shoulder. So again, picture the spiral from this twist from the pelvis through the ribs into the neck. So press to straighten, turn yourself towards the front of the mat, and let's come back down to the floor. And not do a little knee walk over to my camera, that's what we're going to do. Right. So I should have said that we needed a belt, because this means you're having a little rest, have a rest. So I'd like to get us into some lovely little folds. What's the name? Fold is a pose that you do on the floor. Let's have a little play, shall we? So have a little rest for a second. I feel like I'm making you work today, which is not very nice, is it? And then whenever you're ready, sit yourself like this with your legs wide. Again, if you need that cushion for your bottom, stick it under your bum. So your pelvis has got that ability to move, because we're going to come into this kind of position. We're going towards that foot. So this is my right leg. This is my left hand. Yeah, right leg, left hand. So what I want to do is serve this up in 2 parts, so that if you thought this is not very nice, you can come back to this. And I know I've taught this to you, especially in the back garden, so I could see some others when we did it in my back garden, how this looked. Anyway, so sitting. And firstly, it's like I don't want you to think about folding. I want you just to think, how am I going to get my right hand down towards my right foot? It could be that you think, well, it don't go very far, you're going to use the belt. So if you've got a belt nearby, get hold of the belt, have it round your foot and just have hold of the foot. But in the meantime, just maybe have that there and enjoy the journey to the foot. So all I'm going to do is slide the hand down towards the foot and back again. So again, imagine, I think I was saying the other week, imagine you've got really soft legs and you're like, oh, I can't stop touching my legs. Slide your hand down towards the foot. I want you to think about that foot being a destination. It might be that eventually it is the destination, if that makes any sense. So shall we now settle? So let your hand go down to wherever it wants to be comfortable and keep hold of it. That's the key thing. So it could be you're going to hook the hand under the back of the ankle. It might be you're going to grab a belt and think, there, she said hold the foot, that's holding the foot. So there you go, that's another little thing. So I'm just going to keep that there. So now, your left hand, it's very broad, isn't it? So I want you to bring your left hand onto the floor just in front of you and slide it outwards and then slide it back in. So again, just think, you know, if you drop some money on the floor and you wanted to reach it, imagine just trying to go that furthest point to reach it. So be guided by your hand, not by your pelvis. So be guided by your hand. Slide it out, slide it back in, slide it out, slide it back in. So just be guided by your hand, not by your pelvis. So as your hand comes forwards, because it's attached to your shoulders come forwards, your shoulders move your spine move your pelvis. Follow it down. And then think, okay, I want to go towards that foot for some reason. Maybe you've dropped a coin and it rolled towards your right foot. So slide it out and then arc it over towards the foot. Bring it back, slide it back. So slide it out, arc it towards the foot, slide it back, bring it back. So again, be guided by the hand. The hand slides out, it goes towards the foot. Some helpful little things. I don't think you can see my left foot, but if you let your left foot roll with it, that's going to give you some more. You're going to reach better, aren't you? So let your left foot roll inwards as you bring your hands towards the foot. So slide, bring the hand, let your left foot roll with it. Let the pelvis roll, let the knee roll. Spend a little time focusing on your left foot now. Let it roll. Okay, so shall we now let that left hand stay somewhere near the left foot, and again your right hand should be holding the ankle of the foot, something on that right side. So this hand, what I want you to do now is lay down. So last week we did that when we did the leggy pigeony thing, we laid down. So lay down, let your left foot roll with it. So you're laying now on your right side. And now your left hand, all I want you to do is draw a line around your foot with your hand, arcing it towards the ceiling, arcing it towards the wall behind you, arcing it towards, you know, to that space just above your head, and allow yourself to roll backwards. Let your left foot turn. Allow yourself to roll fully backwards, keeping hold of your right leg. So we're going to find ourselves in a position called Supta Padangusthasana, which is reclining hand to big toe pose. And we will feel that we've kind of rolled backwards. And so to come back up to seated, slide your left hand towards your right foot and keep trying to draw that line. Bring your nose towards your shin, like we did last week, and roll up. Hey, yeah, we got some of that movement. I can see you doing it. Okay. We're just going to do that a bit now. So sliding your hand down. So again, be guided by your hand. Imagine you just want to draw a really big rainbow all the way into that space behind you. So again, maybe you can start with your right hand, slide it down towards your right ankle, sliding your left hand out, rolling onto your right side. Let your left foot turn. Keep drawing the arc. Let your ribs roll back. Let your pelvis roll back. Let your head roll back. Again, settle in. And then to come out of it, lead with your left hand, bringing it towards your right foot, nose to knee, roll back up, and do it again. I can see some confusion. I'm going to stare at people. Okay. That's it, lay down, let the knee roll there. That's it, allow yourself to roll back. So it's such a, for me, it's a really pure movement. Again, hamstrings, side waist, everything's involved. Lovely. You all look really, honestly, you've all nailed it. You all look really, really happy. I hope you're happy. You might be pretending to be happy. You might have just got fake smiles on your faces for all I know. Again, if you're happy to rest in this pose and just let, maybe even turn the toes of the right foot towards the ceiling, towards the space behind you. And then let's bring that hand around towards the left, nose to knee, spiral up, and then look at your opposite leg and think, okay, you've been feeling lonely, and you're right, because it has. So let your left hand again begin to slide down towards your ankle. Again, just be guided by your hand, not by the fold. So let your hand go down, let everything happen around it. So you're going to let your pelvis tip. You know, already your right foot might be rolling in, let it happen. I know when we do movements in our daily life, we don't often think, okay, what's the instructions? We just do what ends up feeling right to get that movement done sometimes, don't we? So let this happen again. Let your hand go down towards the foot. Notice that your pelvis is tilting, your body's leaning over that leg, and then let's bring some awareness to that right hand. So let's pause, bring your right hand to the floor in front of you, and again, imagine a coin's rolled away and you want to grab it as you're going to the supermarket and you've got to get a trolley and you're bringing that hand forwards, and again, get back in towards your body, and again, slide the hand out, slide the hand back in. So again, you're not pushing into pain. This is not about the furthest you could move. I've actually noticed it. I pulled my right knee years ago actually, and I can feel it tweaking. So I've actually shortened my stance. So you've got to listen to the inner signals as well. And then I'm going to now think about, again, just repositioning this left hand on the ankle and then sliding my right hand towards my foot. And again, letting this right knee roll with it. So let the knee turn, let the pelvis turn. You might even feel your right hip come off the floor as you bring the hand to the left. So just get to that, feel it. And then imagine laying down. And then drawing that arc all the way above your head. Feeling your pelvis rolling back, your ribs rolling back, and again, settling in. And then let the hands slide forwards, and again roll up to seated. And again, slide the hands out and across and roll down. So be guided by your hand, nose to knee will bring you back up again, as we know from last week. Hand slides out and across, and again laying down. And again, nose to knee. So lead with the hand, nose to knee. We'll spiral you back up. And whenever you're ready, again, if it feels good, to stay on the floor, and hold on to the ankle, hold on to the foot, and allow gravity just to be your best friend. Feeling how your right hip kind of, mine isn't on the floor, you know, it'd be bonkers if it was. My right hip is lifted. I can feel some length from that heel into the wrist. So we can come into relaxation from here. We can straighten the legs and we can lay down. So if you want to lay down, please do so. Let your arms rest down by your sides and close your eyes. So one of the wise words to conquer our ego is to surrender to silence. And for a change, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So as you're resting into the floor and your eyes are closed, just have a little inner listen. Be it listening to what the body's telling you, be it listening to the breath. And just noticing really the types of thoughts that arise. Noticing the mood that sits beneath everything. As we rest with silence, what do we notice about the self? Do we notice we have monkey minds? Do we notice anything else? Do we notice feelings? Do we feel any particular overriding mood? If we're practicing yoga, if we're practicing this silence, we hopefully can begin to reveal things about ourselves. Maybe you knew it anyway, I don't know. So let's find some lovely ways to come towards seated. Be it rolling to one side, be it using hands, whatever it is. Namaste to people on the recording. I shall pause until the recording.